Well, welcome to this episode of the Vuto podcast show on YouTube. I have a great guest today. I know you guys are going to really enjoy. Um, so my next guest is an actor in New York City and someone I've actually known for over 35 years. We met in college in 1982, and by the time we met, she had already been an accomplished actor on and off Broadway in New York City. And I remember when we first met, I found out that she had been a member of the original cast of the now world famous play Evita. And I was so impressed and starstruck. And, she's just an awesome Christian believer. And we've been in contact on social media, kind of here and there. But ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Seda Azarian. So welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is just so exciting to me. I mean, it's been, we haven't really seen each other for many years, but
True.
kind of ran into each other on social media. I was so excited. It's great just to be able to catch up and see what we're doing and that kind of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're still.
It really was, it was great to see you and to see what you were up to. And yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. Well, the last time we saw each other, we were probably both in our 20s, so early 20s. And now I got a little bit of gray hair, so.
Yeah, I hide only my hairdresser knows for sure.
I was going to say for years it was Clairol number 5, so. But it's so great to have you, and thank you for agreeing to do this, because I think we got a lot of great things to talk about and things that'll be really interesting to a lot of folks who have been watching these. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now I usually do a little research before I start these things, but I found out, and I wasn't really sure, but you grew up in Queens, is that right?
I did. I grew up in Jackson Heights in Queens, and my love was dancing. I danced since I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And 6 years old. I just knew that performing was what I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. I don't know, it was just in my heart.
Did you see somebody on stage or something? I mean, what kind of got that bug going, I guess? Or just television, maybe?
I don't know. I don't know what sparked it. I mean, at 3 years old, who knows? Maybe, and I lived in the Middle East. I don't think we had too much TV. So I think because I come from an Armenian background, so I believe I do have some recollection of my mom putting me in Armenian dance classes. I don't know. It was just I just loved it. I was at a small age. Young age. I was dancing. So I think that kind of sparked it. And then, when we came to the United States, of course, the thing to do was to put your children in different kinds of after school programs and, ballet and tap, and, they enrolled us right away. So I caught the bug very early on, and I just loved it, and it grew and grew and grew. And then musical theater, I used to go to the theater. Candide was one of the first shows I saw. Shenandoah. I mean, when I heard them sing and dance, I said, oh my God, that's where I want to be. And all I could see was being on stage in my mind's eye. That's all I saw.
And you arrived here, was it 1964? Is that right?
1964. Yep. In the fall of 1964, we immigrated here from Iran, Tehran, Iran. And my dad worked for the an American company. He was a civil engineer. My mother was a nurse, educated by the British nursing schools.
Oh.
So they wanted to, they were very kind of Americanized in their thoughts and thinking. So they wanted to be here as soon as we could get here.
So they were supportive in what you decided to do as a career. Ultimately.
Well, for the most part, I mean, I think, in those days they wanted you to go to school and get educated, get married, and have kids. I had other things on my mind than that. So yes, they became extremely supportive, and once they understood how much we loved it, because my sister followed suit, and yeah, my brother, who's also an artist, but he got a degree in architecture, so
Now I remember meeting your sister. You're not twins, right?
No, but we're only like 18 months apart, so we're very similar.
Yeah, you guys look so much alike. I remember, when I met her.
Yeah, when we used to audition, they'd go, "Oh, the Azarian sisters are." They knew us, and and as a matter of fact, one time I was just sharing this the other day. My sister was double booked for something, and the cast people wanted her to do the show that she couldn't do. So they called me and they said, Seda, would you come in and do her part in the show? Because we can't seem to get her out of the other one. And we'd love to have you.
That's great.
And that's how it went.
Yeah.
And of course, in Evita, which we'll talk about too, because that was a fun story.
Yeah. Now, so I was going to ask, were there any actors or dancers or that kind of influenced you, or that they were favorites, or
oh yeah, anything Fosse was amazing to me, and of course ballet dancers, Gelsey Kirkland, the way she was. I don't know these names, probably a lot of people don't know maybe, but Baryshnikov, when I used to watch him, he was thrilling. Of course he was a man, but just watching these people and the discipline and the artistry that I used to observe, just amazing, and then on stage, just seeing the chorus, and I think it was, I'm trying to think of, oh my God, just so many things flooding through my head, but lots of people that I watched really inspired me. But of course, I was heading for a ballet career, and then that kind of didn't go anywhere. It kind of fell flat. And the story about how I ended up doing what I ended up. Can I go into that? Do you mind me telling you that?
Absolutely. Yes.
It was really funny because I'd auditioned for American Ballet Theater and as a student, and after my audition, I was taken into their office, and they told me that I was a beautiful dancer, but I was too short and not thin enough. And they said, "Have you thought about musical theater and jazz or tap or any of that?" And I said, not really. So that day I got on the bus on Broadway in front of Lincoln Center, the 104, distraught, broken, thinking, oh my God, now what? I'm sitting on the bus, and all of a sudden it's driving down, going south on Broadway. And then I get this thought, get out at the next stop, which was 50th Street and Broadway. So I said, okay, I followed my thought, my instinct. I got off the bus, I crossed the street, and I'm hearing drums and music, and I'm going, gosh, what's going on? I'm just walking and walking. And meanwhile, I'm destitute and sad and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life now that my ballet career is ended. And I'm standing underneath this marquee with an arrow pointing down to my head that says jazz. And right above it are where the drums are coming from. The sound of those drums are coming from. And I look up and I turn around and I see Phil Black's dance studio. So I walked up the stairs and I go into this dingy old studio where there's 50 students in this room sweating, blistering sweat, just dancing like you wouldn't even believe. It was, I mean, and the people that I think I saw, Cheetah Rivera's daughter in there, and there's a couple of people. I'm like, what is going on? I'm watching this and I go, oh my God, this is jazz. I signed up for the class and was there the next day, and I took this class, and in the middle of the class, the teacher, Phil Black, who was kind of wild and crazy, I was in the back, stopped the class and said, I want everyone to stop and look at this woman who just walked into my studio, who's never been before, and dances better than all of you put together. And I was like, what? Hey, I guess I need to be here. That was how it all started. But that studio was a big studio for many, many Broadway dancers, people who are no longer with us, but Sandal Bergman, Bob Fosse's dancers, like I said, Lisa Mordante, Eddie Mecca, who was Carmine in Laverne and Shirley.
Oh yeah.
He's Armenian, by the way, too, and a good friend of mine. And I mean, if I can think about all the people that went to that studio, and that's where a lot of Broadway people would come in between shows and after, on their days off. And that's where we used to go and just work out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, do you have an idea of how many productions you've been involved in over the years, or?
I can't say, because it's been off Broadway. I had one Broadway show, but I toured a lot. I did cruise ships prior to that. I did regional theaters. I did old shows like The Unsinkable Molly Brown, and I was cast in Sophisticated Ladies. I didn't end up doing that because I got another show, but I was the Terry Klausner singer who sings Hit Me With a Hot Note. Sophisticated Ladies was a Duke Ellington show, and that was an amazing show. I'm sorry I didn't get to do that part, but West Side Story I did regionally, and on a tour I did Anita, the role of Anita, and that to me is a great role too.
Yeah.
And
of course, West Side Story is a classic.
It really is. It's so amazing when you're in a show. It's like a whole world of its own,
And let's talk about Evita.
Evita.
So the opening I looked up, that was in September of 1979. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and that was before we met. That was before we were in college. So, so how did that role come about?
Well, along with what we used to do in those days, I mean, I don't know if it's changed quite a bit, but, I was a non-union dancer at the time, musical theater singer. I was also a singer and an actress. And so we used to crash calls. We used to just go hang out. And if they saw you, they saw you, because you had to be union member in order to get seen. And we wanted the union jobs. Non-union was not where you wanted to be. And it's unfortunate that today the non-union has really taken over, because it really hurts the actor in the long run. Anyway, so there was the call. I even actually kept the clip of it in my souvenir book. And it said, seeking dancers. And so I went. I think there were like 800 people. It was a ridiculous number. It was insane. And I think I was there from, I don't know, the morning. We all went. We all went and we hung out. We brought out coffees, and we just hung out. We just hoped that by the end of the day, they would see what was left of the non-union people. And there was quite a few of us still left. And they did call us in. And out of that 800 people, I was picked
Wow.
to come back. I was like, okay, this can't be real, but okay. And so I came to the call back, and they kept asking me to come back, and then we sang, and then there was like 24 of us left, and out of the 24, it was myself and this other girl who was a non-union girl. They hired her as the swing. They call it the swing, which it covers the dancers and the singers, because she had a more operatic voice. And so she was hired, I was hired, and 6 other girls were hired in the female area. So it was like an amazing thing, and that's how I became union. And
800 started, or
it was 800 of us.
wow, yeah, that's amazing.
They just happened to want to see everybody, and it was late in the evening, and I think it was after 5, and they pulled whoever was in, and one by one they just typecasted us through, and then started dancing us. And I was so used to that kind of dancing because of my training at Phil Black Studios. We went through rigorous styles of every day. We did a different style. So we could pick up and do anything. That's what a great teacher he was. May he rest in peace now. Yep.
It's funny. My mom had a dance studio in New York for probably 30 years.
No kidding. Where?
Not in the city. It was up in Mahopac, up in Putnam County. And but she was a dancer from an early age.
Wow.
She hired a lot of people to do different styles, but she was modern jazz, I think is what they called it at the time. And I never did want to learn. My brother did. My brother was in one of her classes, and she kicked him out because all he was doing was flirting with the girls. and he was disrupting the class. But yeah, that's just, I thought of that when you were talking about being in the dance class. But that working for Evita, that certainly was a feather, so to speak.
That was amazing. I mean, that experience. Again, I was just talking about this with another friend of mine, another Broadway dancer. She was a rockette and did many shows as well. And we were talking about what an amazing blessing it was and an opportunity for us. I mean, to work with Hal Prince, Robert Stigwood, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tim Rice. These were just a few of the people that, I had the privilege day in and day out for years and years to, work with and talk to. And, and Hal loved family. Hal Prince loved family. And when my sister auditioned for the show, she did my track on the first national tour. And Hal would go back and forth between the first national, because we were the only 2 companies at the time. And he'd go and check on them. Then he'd come back into New York. And whenever he'd see me, he goes, family. I just saw your sister. I love having family. He was just what a human being he was. He was amazing, amazing man, talent and heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he just.
And now, speaking of your sister, she was on an episode of Seinfeld, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She really took off in a different direction, where I stayed mostly in some TV. I did commercial. I did like 4 or 5 commercials. I did Betamax. I did Alka-Seltzer. I did 2 out of the Miller Lights. You can see them. I think they're on YouTube. 2 major Miller Lite ads. With Dave DeBuscher, all these like John Madden. Is it John Madden? I don't even know.
The sports guy. Yeah.
All these sports guys, 21 sports celebrities. And they were a hoot, Miller Lite ads. Anyway, my sister kind of went through she went for TV full force, and she moved to California, and she really hit it there. And she did a lot of 3 or 4 different shows. She was guest artist, and she was in a Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the Barney's one where she plays the sales clerk, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes in. She's looking for a dress, and she's complaining about fat mirrors.
Yeah, I actually had seen the episode, but when I'd seen it, I didn't know that was your sister.
Yeah.
I looked up and saw they had some photos online, and I recognized the scene right away.
Yeah, so she did some good things. We were thankful to be able to have that opportunity.
Right. Well, and then when we all were in college together and we initially met, there was actually kind of a group from New York that were maybe Broadway, or there was a couple, and of course we talked about Rochelle, and I remember Rochelle doing, there was a thing where she did we called it Body, Soul, and Spirit. I don't know if you remember, but you kind of did something that you were, good at, and she did this Italian opera song.
Yeah, she had a beautiful voice.
Oh, and she told us what the situation was before, because she was going to be singing in another language that very few of us understood. And I remember crying. I knew what the situation was, but I didn't understand a word she was singing. But it was so emotional and so, I just remember that. But there was kind of a group of you guys that came in from New York.
There was a big group of us who were Christian.
Yeah.
And we all fellowshiped together, and we were the Broadway group, and it was a few girls from Sugar Babies at the time with Mickey Rooney and 42nd Street. So we had a lot of Christian believers on Broadway at the time. And of course, Billy Falcon, who was, he's a big songwriter, and he lives in Nashville. And
yeah, and he,
group too.
I think he's been somewhat friends with.
He writes for John Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Bon Jovi, right.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi. He lives in Nashville, and he has a fellowship at his home as well. And he writes some incredible songs.
Right.
He was part of our group, and we had lots of talent and lots of heart, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, his daughter was in a Disney. She did a song for Inspector Gadget movie.
Rose. Oh, did she?
Yeah, Rose, his daughter, was in Inspector Gadget 2. You can look it up, but it's she did her song was in the movie, and that was really cool. But
well, her husband is I think a well-known country singer, Rodney. I forget his last name though.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
They have 2 kids.
No, I'm kidding. Is his name Garth Brooks?
No, it's not Garth Brooks. Yeah.
So what about man, I always thought I would cave at the whole audition thing. I mean, that's gotta be, is that intimidating? It seems like it is.
It is. It really is. I was always nervous. It was something, but you kind of get used to it. Your nerves become part of the deal, and you learn to use your nerves. And you just have to really stay present. That's the thing. The first thing you want to do is leave your body.
Yeah.
Because it's so, you've got 4 or 5 people just staring at you, and they don't mean you any harm.
But they're judging you.
They want to give you the job, like rooting for you. Yeah, you could do this. This is, but you are like, you've got to go through all this. You're judging yourself. I'm not right. I'm not good enough. I'm not, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just go do your thing. And so, but yeah, I mean, it becomes a job. It becomes really something you have to develop a skill. And, you know, the way you walk in, the way you present yourself, how you go to the piano, you give them your music, or you read your sides, or, you know, you just have to kind of put yourself in a little bubble and like as if you're on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, you kind of get used to it after a while, and you do it long enough, you know, and it's just, I think you just have to get out of your head.
Yeah.
It can be very daunting.
Yeah.
They're there to, you know, see who is going to fit,
Right.
because it's really about fitting into the position. It's like any other job, you know, are you a right fit for this position? Except this position requires you to have a talent, then you have to sing and dance and perform the piece. So they want the best person to fit the position, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point too, isn't it? That I mean, they're not necessarily looking for perfection, but they're looking for a certain look, a certain voice, a certain, you know, whatever that they're trying to fill for.
Exactly. Like Rhapsody, the one with Queen, that movie that came out. Man who got the job never sang a note in his life.
Oh, wow.
He was not a singer at all. And when they called him, they had hired somebody else, and he was totally wrong. And he had an incredible voice. When they met this guy, they said, "We want you." And he said, "Wait a minute. I don't sing. I'm not a singer." They go, "We don't care. You look like Freddie Mercury." And so he lip sang
Oh, right, right.
but he fit into the skin of Freddie Mercury, and he was Freddie Mercury. I mean, you know, and so, you know, are you perfect? No, nobody's perfect, but do you come close to what the vision of what they see that person on stage? And of course, you know, you have to think about when you're auditioning, is this something I could do? Is this me? Can I, of course, as an actress, but there is some sort of look, there is some sort of energy, there's something that you bring that resembles and, you know, is that character,
Right, right.
you know? I mean, I look like an Anita, you know, good thing I dance and sing like one, you know? But when you walk in like that, you know, um, and, you know, quite frankly, I have straight hair. So when I was at the time when I was dancing, I said, I better put curls in my hair because I don't look Hispanic completely, but I can't, because I don't want them to be confused. So if I have curly hair, I'm going to fit more into those kinds of roles. So I was always thinking, how could I look a certain type that I could become more castable? And it was the great choice because I got cast in a show that was all about, you know, Spanish, South American, you know.
We're talking
Evita.
for those who haven't seen Evita. That's yeah,
It's about Argentina.
yeah,
Have to look ethnic.
yeah. Right, right.
And curly hair was ethnic.
Yeah,
Straight hair,
right, right.
maybe not so. I don't know.
So, was there any role that you tried out for that you kind of said, "Oh, I wish I would have got," you know, and it didn't work out, but that you
There
really
was.
was
There
it?
was because I was called in to audition for Kiss of the Spider Woman as Cheetah Rivera's understudy. I was submitted for it, and I got in, and but didn't get the part. So I would have loved to have understudied Cheetah Rivera in Kiss of the Spider Woman. So that was a role I really would have loved to have done.
The one that got away.
Mm.
So, and then as of late, you've been kind of on the other side. You've been doing maybe the more of a support role, wardrobe, makeup, hair, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I went into skincare and makeup as an alternative while I was working, I said, oh, I better get some experience and skills. So when I came back, I was living in California. When I came back to New York in 2006, I was looking for work, and one of my friends who was a Rockette,
Oh, right.
dressing for 15 years at the time and dressing back, the actors. And she said, Seda, that's a great job. You can do this. You can dress these actors. You can be in the wardrobe union. And I said, oh my God, what a great idea. And it's really been great because standing on the other side, watching all these young actors, talented and sweet and wonderful. They come, I've done 3 or 4 shows. Kinky Boots was one. I'm just, until the pandemic, I've been working on Mean Girls, and, I did Jekyll and Hyde. I did Rocky. So, when they find out that I used to do what they did, it's like almost a camaraderie of, our lives coming, meeting together. And they'd ask me things, and then I know how to be with them on stage because I was in their shoes, so I know how to get them through the tough times when they're losing their voice or they're not feeling well, or, if they run into snags on stage, I know how to quickly move them through it. So it really gives me an opportunity to really pass on my knowledge in a supportive role and really kind of pass the gauntlet, pass the baton in a way. And I feel like a stage mom.
Yeah. Right. That's awesome.
And another thing, which is great for actors who've been in and out of the business, the one thing great about this business is you can come in and out, and you're always bringing new experiences to your portfolio, which is yourself. Your life experiences only enhance who you are as an actor. And the way I audition now is very different. By the way, I am back in the business a little bit, except I'm in the TV end of it now, commercials and voiceover. Just these past few years, I've been coaching and studying and auditioning and getting lots of callbacks, but, not yet, not booked the big one yet, but I will. And you just got to remember that, it's the life experiences that you bring to the table that makes you an interesting actor. And, just because you're a little older doesn't make you obsolete. I don't believe it. I think it's just enhances you and makes you better.
Yeah.
Because those skills don't go away.
Right.
Maybe a little rusty, but
Right.
them up. But that's really it, and that's what I do now. And I've loved everything that I've had the blessed opportunity to experience and do.
So is this career something you would recommend? I mean, is it,
Only if you are tortured.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of, when I think of the audition thing, it's rejection, and you have to deal, so is it like if you had, someone who was looking up to you, a young, 19-year-old looking to get into the business, would you say, forget it or, go for it?
Well, it's funny because my niece, she's a beautiful dancer, absolutely drop dead gorgeous dancer. But I look at her and I go, Audrey, do you sleep, eat, drink, dancing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you'd say that. I go, then don't do it. Because if you eat, drink, sleep, envision, dream, nothing else you want to do, then go for it. But if it's something that you go, well, it would be nice if I could do it. I do like to sing and I look to dance, because you are right, Lou. It is grueling. It is time consuming. It is all encompassing. It is completely devouring. It takes every part of your life to become, a working actor. It really does. You have to make that a focus, and you have to give a lot up. I think that, you have to sacrifice a lot. But like I said to you, that's all I wanted to do. I couldn't think of another thing that would made me happier, and I don't regret that. So no, I do not discourage you if that's your calling and that's what you want to do. Just know that, like anything that you want to be really great at takes so much effort and work and sacrifice and commitment. I used to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to prepare for a 10 o'clock audition.
Wow.
And sometimes, then I'd have to go to work till 11, 12 at night, then get up and maybe do it again the next day. And you don't question that. You don't even ask yourself, do I want to get up? No, I don't want to get up, but
Yeah.
I'm getting up.
Right.
Because I see myself doing it. So no, go for it. If you love it and that's what you want, just don't stop until you get it. And remember, it's the visual of seeing yourself doing that which you love to do. You got to have that vision in order to get there. So,
well, thank you so much again, Seda. This has been such a great time talking about your craft and what you do and have done for a lot of years. And it's so good to reconnect via the internet here. And just thank you again. It was very nice of you to agree to do.
No, I always love to talk about these things because they're just such great memories. And if it can really touch someone's heart or inspire someone, then that's great. And thank you for having me and asking me to be part of this. It's just such a privilege always. And thank you so much, Lou. Yeah.
My pleasure. It was so much fun. Well, thank you again.
Okay. Well, all the best. Thank you.
Same here. Love you.
Love you too. Mwah.
Mwah.